Got a new film out now. Can you tell us about a Cowgirl song, your character, and what drew you to this project?
Yeah, of course. So, A Cowgirl Song is about a young girl named Haley. And, she's an aspiring singer songwriter in country music. She grew up with her grandma as this massive country music icon. And, so there's a lot of pressure on her shoulders to try and maybe live up to that expectations. So, the whole film is about her trying to find that confidence, get over her fear of stage fright, and, really step into the performer that she wants to be. And it was really interesting when I got the sides for it in the audition because I automatically felt this super strong connection to Haley. I mean, I grew up around country music. My grandpa was a country singer in Texas, and he's the one who taught me how to play guitar. And I really felt this strong, like personal, like hold with Haley on me. And I was like, wow, I've never really felt so connected with a character before in terms of my upbringing and like who I was when I was younger. And so that's what really drew me to the project. And I thought I could do a really okay job, hopefully, maybe a good job, trying to bring that character to life by adding in a little bit of my own like personal experience.
And you did a fantastic job. That's actually a perfect segue to this next question. But you were able to draw a lot of parallels between yourself and Haley. What was that character development process like for you? And can you talk a little bit more about your shared similarities and journeys?
Yeah, of course. I mean, definitely with Haley, I going into the role, I really just took my own like fear of stage fright that like I used to have with singing. I was always so comfortable dancing. I grew up like dancer first. And then as I got older, I got way more comfortable acting on stage and, performing. But every now and then, and still like to this day, I get a little nervous when it comes to singing. Don't know why. That's just always been the one aspect that I get a little bit more nervous about. And I really thought with this film and with Haley, I could really put that part of myself into her. And I was like, I can really relate to this. I would get nervous and I would be so scared of what people thought of me that it was hard for me to really put myself out there like vocal wise. And so that was the biggest similarity with Haley. And the whole film is about like family and never giving up on your dreams. And so many of those themes I really was able to touch on like throughout my own life. My biggest thing that I always tell people is like never give up, always follow your dreams and never give up on yourself, always believe in yourself, all those types of things. And so I really just felt this strong, strong connection to the entire film.
You've said in previous interviews that Julian the Phantoms played a huge role in preparing you for this project. What did you learn on that series that you were able to apply here?
Yeah, with Julian the Phantoms, that was the first TV film project I had done that included music and a recording studio and a soundtrack. And with that process, I was cast later in the game than like the other cast members. And so with the songs that I had in Julian the Phantoms, I had to learn them within like a couple vocal lessons. And then the recording studio only had a few days to record. And it was this crazy fast process, which I'm very lucky. I grew up in a musical theater academy in Houston that really prepared all of us for like, hey, you can get thrown something last minute, so be ready. And I luckily had that training, but then going into a recording studio and having to do that so fast and all these quick turnarounds, that really prepared me for a Cowgirl song. Because then by the time I found out I booked a Cowgirl song, it was like 2 weeks later, maybe something like that, where they sent me all of the music. And I think I was in like 7 songs on the
Yeah.
soundtrack. And they sent it all to me. And then they said, okay, we'll see you in Oklahoma in 2 days. And, we'll start recording then. So I basically had like 24 to 48 hours to learn like 7 total songs to go into the recording studio and record. So having Julian the Phantoms, that little experience, like that small experience I had with just 2 songs, fully prepared me to learn like a whole soundtrack in like 48 hours.
Yeah, what was more challenging for you, learning and maintaining that Southern accent or recording those 7 songs in 48 hours? And how are you able to turn that accent on and off so easily? And how did you maintain it throughout that filming experience?
I think going into the studio to record the song so fast was definitely more difficult. Since I grew up in Texas, a lot of my family has really thick country accents, so I really grew up around it. But I think I started musical theater at such a young age. And, you learn to articulate and pronunciate like every single word just right. And I really think doing that at such a young age really took away any slight country accent I may have or might have had at any point. And funny enough, when I auditioned for a Cowgirl song, I didn't even use a country accent in my audition. I didn't even use it in the tape. But the first day on set, the second I like walked into our setting and being in Chickasha, I was like, I have to do a little something. This is way too country, and me dressing up in cowgirl hats and cowgirl boots. That wouldn't feel right to just have a super articulate, dialect in this film. And I was like, I can't do that. So I just kind of did it the first so many scenes, and our director liked it and no one ever said anything against it. So I was like, all right, I guess we'll do that. So it was really funny. I think there were times on set, like in between scenes, or even like when I wasn't on set, sometimes that country accent would still come back in sometimes. And it was really funny to like witness that on and off set.
Like you were saying earlier, one of the major themes of this film is family, and there's such a great chemistry that comes off the screen between all of you. How were you able to build that bond?
With people like Cheryl Ladd and Darcy Lynn, I mean, they're two of the sweetest and like most welcoming, heartwarming people I've ever met. So that alone, just like having that energy with the three of us, that really pulled us together in this like family aspect on and offset. And I've said in multiple interviews, and I'll continue to say it, I feel like I gained a real life younger sister out of Darcy. I really connected with her on so many different things. She grew up in Oklahoma and I grew up in Texas. And she started performing at a very young age, and I started performing at a very young age. So there were so many similarities with us. And, this was her first movie and her first like big acting job. And I was around her age when I booked my first acting job. And so to be able to kind of like see her go through that at the same age that I did was really cool to witness. And I did feel like I kind of stepped into a big sister role with her. I was always like, if you need anything, if you have any questions, like I've got your back, don't worry about it. Because I had that when I first started from my cast members, and it really meant a lot to me. So I think having that connection with her, like offset, or like even during lunch, we'd go have lunch together and we would just like talk and get to know each other more. It was this beautiful thing that just kind of naturally happened. And then it just played on camera so well.
Yeah, it definitely did. And you've done so much television throughout your career. A Cowgirl Song is your second feature film. How do those two filming experiences and mediums differ?
I think with every project, it's very different. Every set you go on, you have different types of people, you have different types of surroundings, different areas. I mean, with Julian and the Phantoms, we were in Vancouver, which was like this beautiful, like gorgeous city. And then when we did Cowgirl Song, we were in this little small town, Chickasha, and it was so cute and sweet. So it's definitely interesting with every film, every character you take on, to see how your surroundings play such a big part into actually like being on set and filming a project. So definitely like everything is different. So you approach every project in a different way, but I still think there's some similarities when I approach a project. Like I go through the same routines and everything, but it's always fun to go to a new place and be with new people. It's always a blast.
Been a part of so many projects that have amazing soundtracks. What was your favorite song from this film to perform and why?
Oh, that's a tough one. I feel like each song had a special meaning for it, for me personally, or even just like in the film. I really loved performing Haley's Comet on the big stage. That was such a cool moment. And to be there with like all the big lights. And that was the first time I had done a song in a film or anything where it was like just me standing there with a microphone and like these huge lights in like an actual theater. So that was really, really fun and cool to film. And it was like this really cool moment of like full circle, like growing up on the stage and like always wondering if I'd have that moment. And then I did. And
Mm.
it was this like crazy moment. But that one was one of my favorites. And then I love, 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 love You Remind Me with Cheryl. That moment is so sweet and genuine between Haley and Aaron. And it's something that I loved doing. Like even just when we were on set, I remember there was a moment and we sat there and they were like getting cameras and lighting set up. And Cheryl and I just decided to run the song because even though they play the track with you, I would still sing live and play the guitar
Mhm.
live. So that way it matched with the actual track. So it made it easier for editing too. And Cheryl and I sat on set and we just ran it for fun. And then I remember at a certain moment, it just got dead silent. And like everyone was just sitting there watching us. And it was this really sweet moment of like just Cheryl and I having this like natural, like, let's just practice it. Let's just see what happens. And then I think everyone was telling us afterwards, they were like, it really felt like we were just sitting there watching Haley and Aaron just to have this special moment. And it was this crazy thing of like, you guys had the scene like actually happen without us rolling. And it was this crazy moment. But those two songs were definitely really special memories for me.
That, another major theme within this film is overcoming adversities, which is really relevant to the times that we're living in right now. What has it meant to you to be a part of a project that's spreading that message? And what do you hope audiences take away after they see it?
Yeah, like you said, it's so big and apparent in right now and in this day and age. And it really did mean a lot to me that there was that message within the film. And it wasn't just like, oh, a sweet little movie about family and a sweet little movie about country music. Like, yes, those are the big like elements to it. And of course, it's that kind of movie. But to be able to be a part of something where your characters are struggling with so many things and they're trying to overcome that. It was this really like special thing to get to portray on camera and to really get to play out. And, I really hope people take away from it that things can get really hard. And when everything seems like it's at the very bottom, if you keep fighting, if you keep working for it, if you keep, you know, saying what you believe in, then that will get easier and you'll start to rise up from it. So I really hope people take that away from the film.
Beautifully said. And besides this film, you have another project coming out soon. Is there anything you can tell us about Keep Moving?
Yeah, I'm really excited for people to see this one. I play a character named Lex, and she's moving to a new town, new school, like new atmosphere, and it's a very big dance film. I mean, there's hardly any moments where I'm not dancing in it, which to me personally meant so much because dance was my first passion, my first love. It's the reason why I'm in the entertainment industry, and I've always watched like Step Up or these huge dance films, and I always wanted to be a part of a movie like that. And so when I got offered Keep Moving, I was like, this is it. Like, this is so exciting. This is the kind of movie I've always wanted to do. And so I'm just so thrilled for people to see it, and hopefully they'll hear some news very soon.
Yeah, fans were devastated to learn that Netflix wasn't picking up Julian and the Phantoms for a second season, despite the show's success. When you look back at that experience, what do you remember most? I also wanted to give you an opportunity to share any message that you wanted with your fans who supported the show and continue to support the show.
Of course. Any special things that I take away from that. There's so many memories that I have from filming and when the show premiered. I mean, I've been a part of, like you said, I've been a part of a lot of different film TV projects before, but there was something so special about Julie and the Phantoms. And like, besides the fact that Kenny Ortega was like number one dream person to work with in my career, but there were so many things about that process that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. I learned so much working on that series, but also it was this amazing, it's like a fire truck. Also, there is this like amazing like camaraderie around the cast, and we really did turn into this family, and we knew we were creating something really special on set and something that we would all carry with us. But then when the show premiered, it kind of had this slow burn effect with it, and I still get fans that are contacting me through like Instagram or Twitter, and they're like, I just watched the show and it's so good. So the fact that our show is still affecting people after almost, I think later in September, it'll be like 2 years since the show
Yeah.
premiered. And that's something that I don't think any of us expected at at all. And I will stand by the statement, we have the best fans in the industry. I've never seen any fan base so dedicated to a series or a movie, like anything before. So it truly does mean the world to me, and I'm sure the rest of the cast, that we continue to have so much love and support over our characters and the show. And it's something that I'm always going to be proud to say that I was a part of. And even though, yes, we were all very devastated when Netflix decided to not pick it up for another season, we all knew that, like, hey, we did our job with at least one season, and at least that will always be out there for people to learn from, and to never give up on what they want and to always believe in themselves. So definitely just want to thank the fans for continuous love and support over these almost 2 years. That's crazy. But that show changed my life in so many ways, and I'll always be very, very blessed and grateful for it.
I got one final question for you. You've done so much already in your career. What's left on that bucket list?
Ooh, I feel like so many things. I'd absolutely love to do like an action movie or project. I love like superhero movies and stuff like that. So even like the Marvel universe, that would be so sick. Um, but I'd love another like dream role of mine or like bucket list is to play Rapunzel in the live action Tangled if they ever decide to do that. That's my favorite Disney princess. It's my favorite movie. And I think I would probably like pass out or like die if I even got the chance to audition for it. So that would be like two very big bucket list things. And there's like tons of other ones, but those are two right now that maybe like happen a little sooner than like some other like big milestones. Those would be ones that like I hope would happen sooner rather than later.